Welcome, welcome, welcome. You listen to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM, the Ask Brien Radio Show, every Thursday, 1 to 2 p.m. in Los Angeles. And as usual, everybody asks us, every show, why is Brien spelled with an E? Our guest doesn't understand why did he spell Brien with an E. When he was going to school, it was B-R-Y-A-N or B-R-I-A-N. So every week we have to explain to the audience. So if you've listened before, I apologize. But for those newbies that haven't heard the show, they want to understand why we have an E in the word Brien. Why is it Ask Brien with an E? So we have our lovely co-host. Where is she? New Mexico today? Arizona? Georgia? Florida? I don't know. I'm thinking she's New Mexico.
It's always a mystery. I'll leave it such. But yes, it's never a mystery as to why we have the E in Ask Brien. And one of the biggest reasons is because our engineer's name is Emily.
I thought it had to do with engineer being spelled with an E.
Well, engineer is spelled with an E, but our engineer's name is Emily, which is also spelled with an E, which is double excellent.
Well, what if she was an electrical engineer? Then she'd have triple E's. Electrical engineer Emily.
Wow.
She would, but she probably wouldn't be engineering our show, and that would not be acceptable with an A.
But you know, the board has all these electrical things, so maybe she has some electrical background.
Maybe she does. But yeah, see, there you have it. And she speaks again. She's starting to be a little more brave and venture out more. So love hearing you, Emily.
Well, you know, everybody says my hair. Everybody says my hair and my eyeglasses, I look like Ben Franklin with my hairstyle. And the fact is, he invented electricity when he had a little kite up there. So maybe that's why we have the E in here. Maybe that's a possibility. Or a distant relative,
maybe, but I don't
or a
think
distant relative named Einstein.
That's a reach.
A distant relative named Einstein. Maybe that's it. Anyway.
Okay. Maybe we just keep going with our E's that we all get excited about. So, and most importantly is the word expert, because the people that we interview on the Ask Brien Show are definitely experts within their fields, and they share a lot of entrepreneurial expertise with us on the show.
Obviously, you and I are not experts, but everyone that comes on the show is, so yes.
Well, I beg to disagree with you. I am an expert. You can say that about your own self, but I am an expert.
You're an expert in knowing the E's.
I am an expert in knowing the E's among other exceptional things.
Exceptional, another E.
Exactly.
Is this like is that like Ted's Excellent Adventure or what? Do we have an excellent?
Most days my life is like Ted's Excellent Adventure. Yes, it is.
Especially Thursdays.
Always Thursdays, with no exception.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the biggest E's we haven't even come to yet. So when are you going to come to the biggest E's?
Well, I really always like to save one of them until the end, but there's definitely, we're very excited. We're very excited about our guest today. We are very energetic about being able to deliver such amazing information today. And we are obviously providing excellence in everything that we do on the Ask Brien Show.
Well, there's a couple you left off, but we do got to get going. So, one, grease lightning.
Yes, great.
What about
question.
The show is electrifying, and we're very, very, very enthusiastic. Woo!
And exhilarating.
But what's the biggest one? You missed the biggest one.
Oh,
I don't want to
how
put
do
you
you
on the
put
spot.
me on the spot like this? I don't know.
Education. We educate our audience.
Well, we did say entrepreneurial expertise, so I thought I covered that. But okay, yes, the education is what you are going to receive today. There is no doubt about that.
Well, as long as we're electrifying as they do on Grease Lightning, we're very, very excited to have our guest. And do you know what his company starts with?
It starts with an E.
And what is the name of that company?
Eucalyptus Med.
Exactly right. And without any further ado, how do you spell ado?
ADIEU,
And why do I like that word?
because it's almost all vowels and very few consonants.
Absolutely. Without any further ado, can I get a drum roll? No drum roll. All right. Okay.
Low budget, sorry.
Low budget. I got to speak to my podcast producer. Anyway, we're back, and without any further ado, we have our guest. His name of the company is Eucalyptus Med, and his name is Jorge. Are you there?
Yes,
You survived. I'm
I'm right
amazed
here.
that you stuck around. Okay.
Pleasure to be with you, Tracy and Peter.
Thank you very much. Well,
Thank you.
You're very tenacious.
Not everybody says that, by the way.
They say a lot of things about me, but we can't repeat that because this is a live show, and there might be people under 18 on the show listening. So, I don't know. I got these big eye rolls from Emily, so I'm not sure what she's talking about. So, Jorge, before we get into your company, Eucalyptus Med, I want to go over a little bit about your background. So, before you started Eucalyptus Med, what was your background, business-wise?
Well, I'm an industrial engineer, and then I studied an MBA in the U.S. And my whole career, I've been an entrepreneur or an advisor for other entrepreneurs. So in Mexico, I co-founded a business accelerator, and that was before I decided to drink my own Kool-Aid with Eucalyptus.
So that's an interesting question. I don't want to go too far into it, but that is a good concept. So first of all, I know what an accelerator is, but I want to make sure everybody else understands what an accelerator is. So you can just quickly explain to people what that means, besides the car accelerating?
Of course. Well, in our case in particular, we were an accelerator that selected companies. They were SMEs, small and medium enterprises, and we had to see in them a lot of growth potential. So then we invested in them, and also we helped them grow. So this is like the scale-up stage in which you have a good idea that has already been proven, and then you help them escalate nationally or internationally. That's what an accelerator does.
So you have a small company, and you want to scale your business. Is that what it is?
That's correct.
And so you helped them. So was this this accelerator company, was that just you, or did you have a whole bunch of people helping out? How did that work?
Whole bunch of people. We were 100 in Mexico, and we were strategy consultants, but also we needed a lot of experts in recruiting, because one of the key elements to scale a business is to have the best talent, and that includes not only the C-level, but also managers. So we were quite a big team.
And what was your role at that company?
I was the CEO.
And you founded that company and grew it to 100 people?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. So you've already been successful once. And of the accelerated companies, how many companies do you think you did join this accelerator program while you were there? Approximately.
Well, it would be probably around 1,000.
Wow.
During my tenure, we worked a lot in tandem with the Ministry of Economy from Mexico, so they would pay part of the check, and the company would pay the other part. So that definitely helped us a lot. We also work with a lot of entrepreneurs, with a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, because right now, fortunately, we have a lot of availability in terms of knowledge. So we know what's a business model canvas, or we have access to a lot of literature, but not necessarily we have access to developing the right skill set to become an entrepreneur, the right mindset. So we also focused on that and help a lot of entrepreneurs from college to start their businesses.
Okay, so now you have this new company called Eucalyptus Med. When did that company start, and how did you? What gave you the inspiration to start that company?
Well, it started in 2018, and we started in a stealth mode. And the inspiration were my parents. Both are elders or seniors, and they're dependent. And I've been their only caregiver for the last 15 years. So along this time, I found out that I knew nothing about taking care of a senior. I had to be learning on the fly, and I realized that there was nothing out there in the market to help both seniors have a better health, but also to help relatives be sure that they're well taken care of. So that was the inspiration.
Now, so you started this company alone, or did you have other people?
I have two other co-founders. One of them is Dr. Alberto Palacios. He's a board-certified geriatrician. It's very respected among his peers. And the other one is Miguel Briones. He's an expert in customer experience. So he's on board because definitely one of the things the things that you don't want to do and that you drag your feet to do is to go to the doctor. So we want to definitely improve that experience.
And so you started the company in 2018. All three of you started it at the same time?
Miguel joined one year after, but he was involved from the beginning with all his expertise in CX.
So explain how the company works in the sense of so you're going after elderly people and providing caregivers, or what exactly do you do?
No, what we do is we give access to geriatricians to our patients. And the great problem is that there's only 742 geriatricians in the whole country, and there's 15 million elders. So there's not enough of them to serve them. So what we do is that we send a general practitioner to our patient's home, and this general practitioner works like a resident in a teaching hospital. And this resident has telemedicine equipment with them. So this resident performs part of a house call, and then a geriatrician joins the house call through a video call to get a diagnostic and to offer a treatment. After the house call ends, the relatives are notified of the results. So this has a lot of benefits because it generates what we call adherence, and adherence to two things. One, to doctor visits. So ideally, a senior has to see a geriatrician at least 3 times per year, and that's according with the American Geriatric Society. And the other is adherence to their treatments. So you can give a prescription to someone, but then you might need to make sure that they take the medicine correctly and they take them during the right period of time to have an effect. So one of the things that we do is precisely that. We do this, and we give our patients memberships. Through these memberships, they can finish a treatment. That treatment includes all the house calls they need, and also it includes follow-up, personalized follow-up by the same general practitioner that visits their home. And so that makes sure that patients are well taken care of at any point in time. So
are you saying that this is like real doctor visits, or is it just telemedicine doctor visits? I mean, is actually somebody coming to the house?
It's a real doctor visit. It's the benefit of telemedicine, of connecting a specialized physician on a distance. But there's a person that goes to your house and performs part of the consultation.
But is this a doctor, or it's just a geriatrician or a nurse, or?
It's a doctor. It needs to be a general practitioner. In order for us to call it a consultation, it needs to be a doctor physically present. That's how regulation works down there in Mexico.
So how is this cost effective? That's where I'm lost. Okay, in America, I mean, if I want to get a physical exam, it's like a 2-month wait with COVID, and even before then, it was typically at least a 1-month wait just to get my own physical exam. And the doctor, you had to go to the doctor's office. I don't think they've had doctor visits, in over 50 years in America, and I'm just trying to understand how this is scalable and how people can do this. So, can you explain that?
Yes, yes, of course. So a geriatrician in a traditional consultation in their office, it takes them 60 minutes at least to perform a consultation. And this is because in Mexico, the private practice doctors work like lone wolves. They do everything. But if in a consultation we include a general practitioner that performs part of the consultation, which is basically the workup, the physical examination, then you only need the geriatrician to be in a consultation for 20 minutes. So so basically geriatricians triple their capacity. So that's number one. Number two, geriatricians charge on average. I'm gonna, in dollar terms, they charge on average between $50 and $75 per consultation in their own office. We pay them $24 per consultation, so they're seeing more patients and they can even earn more per consultation. So it does make sense for them. Now, in Mexico, we have a lot of very talented general practitioners. And every year there's an exam so that, the ones that aspire to study a specialty, they apply to this exam. So there's 40,000 applicants every year, and there's only 7,000 spots. So in Mexico, we have a lot of general practitioners available, if you may. And so what we have done is take this resource and pair it with the geriatricians in such a way that it makes sense economically, but also it's perfectly scalable.
Now, my next question goes to, so do you have this in the U.S. or is this just in Mexico for now?
Currently, this is only works in Mexico. Definitely, we're planning to go into the U.S., but this is something that we are promoting in the U.S. because we have a huge Mexican expat community that still has relatives in Mexico, and they want to be taken care of. So yes, it's still in Mexico, but we would be coming to the U.S. And one more thing, in Mexico, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's almost 2 million expats, U.S. expats living in Mexico. Most of them are retired, and a lot of them are snowbirds, but roughly half of them are permanent residents, and most of them are seniors with no access to healthcare, as I mentioned. So this is also a service that is very interesting for them, and this is one of the ways in which we're going to try to tap into the U.S. market.
Is this all pay as you go, or is there any insurance involved? In other words, does any type of insurance pay for this, like health insurance?
No, it's out of pocket. It's out of pocket right now. However, we're starting to work with insurance brokers that so that collaborators of companies can have their company pay for this as part of their benefit package.
And we have about 20 seconds before we got to take a break, so try to go over your biggest challenge that you have, and we'll discuss that further when we come back. What's your biggest challenge?
Well, one of our biggest challenges right now is definitely raising capital.
Okay. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM.
The shows must go on. The Main in Santa Clarita is your destination for free online music, theater, art, and entertainment opportunities. Tune into fun variety nights, join a talent show, learn from filmmaking experts, attend a modern play, and more from the comfort of your home. For more information and to view upcoming events, go to facebook.com/The Main Newhall or at themain.org. Enjoy the shows.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Find the right job for right now at College of the Canyons Job Fair, taking place on the COC Valencia campus on Friday, March 11th from 9 till noon. The job fair will feature businesses from many industries looking to fill positions ranging from entry-level to management. Bring plenty of resumes and dress to impress. Visit cocjobfair.com for info. That's cocjobfair.com.
Helping lead the way to a greener future, all of Burtech's Santa Clarita Valley waste collection trucks run on clean-burning natural gas. Burtech takes pride in their community, and they've been serving the SCV for nearly 2 decades. Because at Burtech, we'll take care of it.
Hometown, your hometown station.
No? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Ask Brien Radio Show every Thursday, 1 to 2 p.m. in Los Angeles. Woo! All right. We're talking to Jorge with Eucalyptus Med, and my co-host Tracy had a couple of questions. We did stop you at the last question, so we wanted to go over, we were discussing the biggest challenge. You mentioned something about raising funds, and so without going into any securities regulation rules, if you can tap on that, and then Tracy has a whole bunch of questions. In fact, her list is longer than Santa Claus, so it's a big list.
Of course.
I don't even know what that means. But go ahead first and talk us through what was happening on the before our break about raising capital being one of your biggest challenges.
My brain goes everywhere, so that's the problem. Go ahead.
I know, it's not even, it's just March 1st. You could have at least made a leprechaun reference as opposed to Christmas and the holidays. Dang.
It's Christmas
so
in March.
Raising capital is your biggest challenge. Let's talk through that for a moment.
Of course. When we started the company, we were first bootstrapped, and then we started to raise some capital from friends and family. But then the business began to grow. So then the funds required were, it was very difficult to get them through friends and family. So back in Mexico, we tried to go to the current venture capital industry. And the great problem is that the minimum ticket for these venture capital firms is $1 million. So if your capital requirement is less than $1 million, then you're not ready to get investment from them. So we were like caught in the middle. We didn't need $1 million, and so we decided to go out to other parts of the world, particularly the U.S., to raise some of that capital.
Well, and then, so in terms of raising capital, let's talk about it in a phase 1, phase 2. So the raising capital that you've already been successful at achieving, where did you allocate those funds? And if you're going for a next round of fundraising, where do you anticipate that you'll need to allocate those funds?
Yeah, well, the initial funds were to allocated to the development of our telemedicine platform. Number one. Number two, in marketing, particularly web marketing efforts, and number three, hiring some key personnel. Right now, in the next round, it doesn't change a lot. We still need to invest more in our telemedicine platform because it not only we use it to perform our house calls, but also the whole operation is supported by this platform. So it's very important for us to keep track of, when are we going to have a house call with someone? When do we need to give a follow-up call? So all of that needs to be scheduled. And every time we have an interaction with a patient, it needs to be recorded in their electronic health record. So doing that without having a platform, it's really a cumbersome task. So that's number one. And also right now, talking about technology, we also need to strengthen our platform in terms of compliance, of security. We're beginning to work with big corporations in pharma and in the huge insurance brokers, and they require us to have a minimal standard. So we need to be up to par. So that great part of the funds are going in that direction. And as I said, we still need to grow our team. We need to have more key accounts. We need to have more agents to serve our patients and our prospects. So that's where all the money is going.
So I'm curious if your background has been helping all of these other people through accelerators, how has it been challenging for you to be on the other side of being the one who is trying to build the business versus helping other people build theirs?
Well, actually, I feel a lot better being on this side. Being in the other side and just watching how many entrepreneurs are extremely successful with their ventures, with the advice that, in part of the advice that we give them, always, it's always in my mind. So actually, for me, it's quite the opposite. I'm enjoying being on this side, instead of being a spectator, I'm enjoying and being, the star of the film.
Well, do you think that do you find that the advice that you were giving to those other entrepreneurs, are you applying a lot of your own advice? I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes it's a lot easier to give advice to other people and for them to take it than it is for us to take our own advice. So I'm curious if you've struggled with sort of knowing things to do, but then wanting to do things differently.
Well, definitely, I've tried to drink my own Kool-Aid. I try to do all the things that I advise my clients. And the realization that I have is that I still needed a lot to learn. So even though I could give good advice in many elements, there's still a lot of things that I didn't know. So for me, this is still a learning experience.
So in helping our other entrepreneurs that are listening today, could you share maybe some of those couple of points that you really have learned a lot from?
Yes. One of the things. Well, there's many things, but one of the things that I've learned is that everything is going to be okay at the end of the day. You cannot be too pressured all the time. You always have to think that things are going to be all right at the end of the day. So that's number one. Number two, one of the greatest advices that I could give someone is to trust others, but also to verify. That's number two. And number three, communication is something very key. And there's a saying in Mexico that if you don't communicate something, it doesn't exist. So it's very important to make sure that all the communication flows through your organization as you grow up. When you're a startup and everybody's in the same room, or there's only 3 or 4 people, it's very easy to communicate. But when you start to grow your company, some of those lines of communication are broken, and you need to make sure that information flows. When there's no information, you create a void, and that void usually it's covered by something else that you may not want. So that's something really, really important.
Is the majority of your team virtual, or do you work within the confines of an office structure?
That's a great question. So we started, we're a pre-pandemic company, so to speak. And so at that moment, we didn't have an office. And then the pandemic struck, and it made no sense for us to have an office. So we are a 100% home-based company. Precisely right now that we were answering some questions, compliance questions. They were asking, like, where are your servers? Where are they located? And they're virtual servers. We don't have an office. So it's curious that we have been operating this way ever since.
And so when you were talking about the challenges around communication, what are some of the ways that you are, or what are some of the systems that you're putting in place to help you effectively communicate with a remote team?
Yes, well, you need to have different types of meetings. You don't want to have too many meetings, but you need to have the right amount of meetings with people. We have, for example, I have a meeting every week with my other 2 co-founders, but also we have then a meeting with our commercial team. And in that meeting with the commercial team, also other folks from operations are involved, so they can be on the loop. We have another meeting in which we talk with all of our general practitioners, and we have another meeting in which we talk with all of our specialized doctors. So all of that happens in 1 week. And we make sure that all information is flowing. So that's number one. We always want to be in contact. Number two, one of the things that I mentioned before is trust, but verify. So one of the things that we usually do is touch base with all of our collaborators in an ad hoc basis to see how they're doing and to make sure that they have all the tools to do that work, and at the same time we're verifying that they're actually doing it. So it's a lot of contact, but without making it too overwhelming.
Right, because that's a lot of different cooks in the kitchen, and that's a lot of different people to manage communication flows. I'd like to circle back to something that you mentioned that I'd love if you can elaborate more on. So you were talking about collaborating with the pharma companies and the insurance companies. How will that change the dynamics of your business, and will it also change the way your business model is structured?
No, going with pharma, working with insurance companies is our B2B2C strategy to expand exponentially. Right now, the efforts that we have done through web marketing, we're basically done to test our product in the market. With pharma, for example, one of their greatest problems is adherence to treatments. So what we're doing is we're starting with work with them with some patient adherence programs in which we're going to make sure that they're taking their medicines correctly and that they're finishing their treatments. That's huge for pharma because we're increasing their sales and they can track that ROI perfectly. In case of insurance brokers, we're offering a product that doesn't exist in the market. So for them, it's really beneficial that they can have another product in their portfolio. And it's a unique product. There's nothing like it out there. So for us, that's the way in which we're going to scale in Mexico. And it doesn't change the way we're doing a business. From the beginning, we wanted to structure the business such a way that we can scale with opportunities like this. What changes is that we're going to start to have a larger footprint in the whole country. Right now, we have presence in 3 cities, but this is going to force us to start hiring general practitioners on the ground in many, many cities in Mexico. But the tough part, so to speak, we have already done it, which is to create this platform to run all of this.
And so since you brought the 3 cities in Mexico up, I'd love to hear your perspective on expanding outside of the country. So you have an aggressive plan to expand within the country of Mexico, but what are your plans for expansion outside of Mexico, and what's involved in that?
Yes. So obviously we want to expand to other countries in Latin America, particularly Spanish-speaking Latin America. There are countries that have similar challenges as Mexico and also have a similar infrastructure. So we believe that this model can be replicated in those countries. One of the things that's going to help us a lot in this replication is that also there's a lot of expats from these countries living in the U.S. And if we successfully start serving the Mexican expats and their relatives in Mexico here in the U.S., then the work can be spread to other of the expats of Latin American countries, so they can hire these for their relatives living back home. So that's our initial strategy. And naturally, if there's changes in regulation in which it's more flexible to do international telemedicine, we would obviously love to enter the U.S. market. My in-laws, they're from the U.S., and I'm amazed that they don't want to go to see the doctor because of the experience that they have, or if they want to see a doctor, they need to wait 2-3 weeks for that to happen. And I think that there's a great need also for in the U.S. for a product like ours. So if international telemedicine regulations are flexible, then we might actually come here too.
We have about 20 seconds left.
So we'll save this answer for when you come back, but who would be the competitors that you would see, I guess, primarily now in Mexico? Do you have competitors? And then as you expand globally and focus on the U.S., who will be your competitors when you entered the U.S. market?
Sure. Happy to answer that question.
We'll be right back. Listening to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM, Ask Brien Radio Show.
It's murder, mystery, and mayhem at the Canyon Theater Guild. Usher in the new year with laughter and mystery at the hilarious comedy Whodunit, Clue on Stage. Was it Miss Scarlet in the kitchen with the wrench? Perhaps it was Mr. Green in the billiard room with the rope. Only one way to find out. Based on the popular board game and adapted from the cult classic film, Clue on Stage will keep audiences guessing and laughing to the very end. Get your tickets by calling 661-799-2702 or online at canyontheater.org.
This is Bradley from Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to 4,465 families in the SCV. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Center Point Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 661-425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
You already know Salt Creek Grill has the best food in our valley. Well, now you can have Salt Creek's gourmet meals catered to your event.
I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. I'd like to introduce you to a new level of catering, featuring our catering director, Tamara Levine.
Salt Creek Grill creates memorable experiences, which leaves our clients and guests with a sense of awe and excitement. From menu development to picturesque presentation, you'll enjoy culinary excellence in creative catering.
Salt Creek Grill, a new level of catering.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM with my co-host Tracy, and we're talking to Jorge about Eucalyptus Med, an interesting concept. Basically, although it's based in Mexico, he does plan on expanding it other places, basically allowing a doctor to actually make kind of house calls and try to find out some information to try to help elderly people and others with their medical care. So it's a very, very important concept that affects everybody in the U.S. as well as worldwide, and that's who we're talking to. Jorge, you had a question before that Tracy was asking. Tracy, do you recall?
Yeah, so we were talking before, but who would be your competition within Mexico, and then who would be your competition when you entered the U.S.?
Yes, so in Mexico we don't have any direct competitor. I would say that the closest to be a direct competitor are the one-man show geriatricians that do traditional consultations. There's some competitors in the market, like the brick and mortar traditional hospitals that are trying to incorporate telehealth. So that's one. There's other very novel competitors that are doing InsurTech, and one of them is called Sophia. And what they do is they offer unlimited consultations through telehealth with their clients for a fixed amount per year. The issue is that they don't serve people that are 65 years or older. So there's like a I don't know, like a lot of people don't want to get into this industry, the senior industry. So we're taking that as an advantage right now. And in the U.S., well, I would say that the largest competitor that we would have it's called Papa Health. They're a company that started in Florida. That it's been very successful initially to having like peer support for elders. So someone younger would be paired with a senior and help them in different arenas. But right now they have expanded also into healthcare. So I guess they would be our main competitor.
Why do you think that people? Go ahead, Tracy.
Go ahead.
Excuse me?
I was just going to say, why do you think that nobody is in the industry in Mexico going for people over 65? Is it that they don't have the money, or is it that, because usually competition rises. So usually if something is going to be successful, it's usually a good indication when somebody says you've got competitors. When I hear that you don't have competitors, it scares me that why not?
Exactly. I think, and it speaks to the system. As I mentioned, the medical system believes that you can treat seniors the same way you treat younger adults. So there's no urgency. There's no need to treat them in a different fashion. So I think that that's ingrained in the system, and right now, simply people are not paying attention to it. And also, because it's a very, very hairy, very difficult problem to solve. And also because there's not a lot of resources available. As I mentioned, there's only 742 geriatricians. There's a lot to be done, but precisely because there's a lot to be done, for example, the government is not making like huge campaigns saying, hey, go visit your geriatrician, it's the right doctor. They're just doing it because there's not enough geriatricians. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's my insight on this.
What's your expected growth rate over the next 1 to 5 years?
Well, this year we expect to have $1 million in revenue, a little below that. The next year is going to be 5, the following year is 36, and the next one is $87 million. That's the hockey stick. That's huge growth, and that's only in Mexico. And the reason why this makes sense, or what is going to happen, is because we're going to have a renewal. We have a very high renewal rate. It's above 80%, so that helps us a lot. And the other thing is that because right now we're selling memberships and they're exclusively house calls, but on top of that, we're upselling other elements. For example, medicine delivery, right to your door. In Mexico, that's a huge issue. The market is very opaque, so there's an opportunity there. Also, we're delivering insurance, particularly for fractures for seniors. We're delivering assistance in case of emergency. So we're upselling little things that are very necessary, but we're piggybacking on the network effect we're creating. That's why we have this very interesting growth rate.
Thank you very much. You've listened to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Tracy. Till next week.
Thank you.